All right, good morning. Monday, March 3rd. Feels weird to say it. February, if people were complaining about January going so slow, which it did, felt like forever. I don't know what happened in February. It's March 3rd. Somebody told me this morning that we're springing forward on time on Saturday and kind of caught me off guard. But weather's getting there. It's still chilly. I mean, we're getting there. We're watching lacrosse on the weekends. I had a bunch of people that went out to the beach this weekend. So we got a little bit of springtime flair in. But boy, lots to talk about today. As always, I'm going to get straight to the numbers, but I do want to bring up what I'm going to talk about at the end. Action gets you more action. And I helped 3 buyers this weekend. We got 3 different stories, but it all relates to them getting off the sidelines, taking action. And I'm going to tell you what happened. It's 3 really good stories. Got 2 that definitely happened and then 1 that almost happened. But there's some consistencies in how we got there. And I want to talk to you about that with everything going on. And these are patient people, some of which I've been working with for over a year, some 3 years. Okay. So I'm just going to walk you through that process and what happened. And it really relates to what's going on in the marketplace right now. But as always, let's dive into the numbers. I'm going to share the screen here. Listen to me, new listings, 74. So that's up there, right? So that's up in the higher range of what we've been seeing. But so far, guys, that's 5 weeks in a row. We've been very consistent on the new listings being higher than at any point during the fall. Okay, so that's very consistent. Pendings, 19. Man, that's super interesting. Okay. And again, if you're just watching us, we take a 72-hour window and paint the week that was, okay, on the beach. So 19 is lower than we've seen over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And it's a little interesting because we are busy. Like we did 2 this past week. Okay. So I'm just trying to relate it to the marketplace. And I'm going to talk more about that in a second, but I'm surprised that number's low. But guys, we're still well off of that 50% ratio that we were working with in the fall. And that's of note. And that's a trend. Okay. So we're now at 3 weeks where we've been less than that 50% threshold. Again, if you're just joining us, we try to stay within 50% of the new contracts in relation to what's coming on the market to kind of eat away at that saturation rate. And that's not anything that we're looking at. That's not some number that Casey came up with. It's just what the market was doing last year. So it's just that we had a model where if we brought on 50, we take away 25. So if we're bringing on 70 or so, we need to be bringing off 35 to stay with the trend of the saturation rate we worked with at least the last 8 or 9 months of last year. Right now, we've been a little bit top heavy going into spring on new listings and not taking away as many. Okay, that's just the number. Closings, 25. That's right on par with the pendings that we've had to this point. So what I take out of that is the pending contracts that are getting written do seem to be closing based on that number. All right, let's go down to price changes. Look at this one, 87 price changes. So the reason I harp on that one, and I'm going to go back full screen here just to talk to you. The reason I'm talking about 87 is that's up there. Okay, if we go back in the archives, and we never do this, but you can go back and watch, we haven't had 87 in some time. I would say since maybe early last spring. So a little bit of it is the time that we're in. But you know, the price changes had gone down when the new listings went up. Why was that, Casey? Well, it was because agents were using the new listings as kind of price changes. Meaning, if I was going to drop the price on something, I would just take it down, put it back on market as new, but change the price, right? Well, when we still got so many new listings and a very high rate of price changes, that's not the case. Now, I can tell you through looking at some of these new listings, some of them were on the market, so they're not new, but we've got a large amount of price changes. Look, I've been doing them and we've had success. We dropped one on Friday and we got bombarded with showings, but we got it with feedback. We listened to the marketplace, okay? And it just worked. And we've got people coming at us now. So let me just get to the point on the feel of the market. Those are the numbers. But let me tell you what's going on out there. It is very active in certain segments. I've still got segments that are pretty cold and patient. And then I've got some segments where we're getting multiple showings on properties. All right? So I got another question this week. Somebody sent me an email and said, Casey, I'm looking at the trending Florida market. It's showing 15 to 30% down. And my response is, what segment, right? Like we have really got to be careful with the information that we're putting in our head on our interpretation of the marketplace. I'm not saying it's not 30% down in some segments, but there's some segments that if you're waiting for 30% down, you're missing opportunity, okay? Couple of stories from this weekend. We got 2 properties under contract this week with buyers, okay? We shown another one that I thought the people would come forward, but they decided it just wasn't a perfect fit. But in all of those, we had been with those folks for a while. The best part about it is that 2 of them were not on the market. So the first one, I had a client coming in for something very specific. We looked around, saw what was out there. I send a proactive email to the marketplace saying, hey, they have really narrowed it down to this and this budget. Well, I had something come my way from my office. We showed it. They liked it. We put it under contract before the marketplace could get it, just from being proactive and seeing what's out there. But listen, that was a certain segment for what they wanted on the market right now in the price range. There were only 5 options, okay? And none of those were looking like a fit, right? So we had to go out and try to find, and we did find a good fit for them, all right? So we did that, got one under contract. The second one, in the fall, we went through an offer sequence on a condo with this couple. We were not able to get there on price. Because of that, the seller decided we're just not going to sell right now. We may not in the future. We're taking it off the market. This was October, November. Fine. I knew what the people wanted. I was still searching out there. Nothing was coming up. Then last week, my phone rings. Casey, they've decided they're going to sell. Here's the price we're coming on at. I know you guys were interested. I'm coming to you first. It's that sentence that I want to harp on. I'm coming to you first. We negotiated it. We got it under contract before the market could get it. Now, why were they coming to us first? Because we took a swing, even though we didn't get there on price, even though we couldn't come to terms. We got active and gave them a price in the fall that we would be happy purchasing the condo. Before they even came back, they gave a call to us to check in with us to see if we'd still be interested. They had time to think about everything. We put the deal together, okay? Here's another one. I showed a house down south of me, down on west end of 30A, back in the early fall. Great house. The house went under contract. Missed out, all good, happens. Unfortunately, that contract fell out, okay? Before they went back on market, what do you think that agent did? Because I had shown it twice, been active, going over there getting videos. Hey, Casey, just wanted to give you a heads up. This property is falling, the contract is falling through. I know you had somebody active. I wanted to call you first. We sprung into action. We got back over there. Now, it ended up not being the perfect fit at this time, but here's my point, and this is what I keep preaching on. I look at my listings, and every 2 weeks I send my seller online view reports. Some of my listings have insane amount of views. And if you go on Zillow, it's being saved by a lot of people. But if you're a buyer right now, I know what you're doing. You like to watch and you like to see it. And there's some magic number that if it drops to, you may spring into action. Okay? Look, I get it. But you got to picture that if you're doing that, there's this sea of people that are also doing that. And this is what I mean by getting really dialed in on what you want. If you're a person that's still in the boat of saying, I'm really very open to whatever it is, then that's not for you. Like, we're not playing that game yet, right? We got to get really dialed in. It's very few people that I work with in the marketplace that are so wide open to what they want. They don't care as long as it makes sense. They all have some sort of family need or personal wish list that we narrow it down to. And when we are able to narrow it down to it, we can focus, be in touch with those people, and be the ones that get the call if they are ready to sell in a range that you would buy. But if they don't know us, we have no chance of that. So I guess in summary, what I'm saying is that if you're out there and you're watching something and you know you have something specific, please relay it to either myself or your agent and make sure they're in conversation and aware. Because my fear is there's going to be properties that sell for prices that you would have paid for it, okay? And you're going to wake up and it's going to be gone for that amount. So that's my week that was. It is busy on our end. It's super interesting on the pendings. I'm not going to fluff it. We're having an increase in inventory. We're having an increase in price changes, and we're not having an increase in pending contracts. So while I'm talking to you about writing contracts, I'm just going with the vast amount of numbers. So it's something I'm watching. But the people that are taking action right now are very specific, and they're very happy with the values that they're getting right now. So that's it. Going to be a busy week. We're around if you need us. Please don't hesitate to call, and talk to you soon.